got the beat. Out and about, we're feeling fine.
Hello.
Well, great. It's great to have you on the line this morning. Of course, I do a show called Radiotherapy, and they call me the radiotherapist, Henry Green. And Lou, I'd like to introduce you properly. Where do I begin? You're known as the co-founder and lead vocalist of the rock band Foreigner from 1976 to 1990, and again in 1992 to 2003, which during that time the band Foreigner had numerous hit albums and singles. Now in 2013, you were inducted into the Songwriters Hall of Fame with Foreigner founder Mick Jones. Also in 2013, Lou released his autobiography in a book called Jukebox Hero, My 5 Decades in Rock and Roll. And in October of this year, you're going to be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame as a member of the band Foreigner. You also enjoyed a successful solo career with solo hits, including Midnight Blue and Just Between You and Me. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm so honored, I'm humbled to say hello to one of my favorite singers and a rock legend, the original lead singer of Foreigner and the current voice of the Lou Gramm All-Stars. Hello, Lou Gramm. It's such an honor to speak with you.
How are you, Henry? Very nice to talk to you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And first, let me congratulate you on being inducted in to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame this year with the band Foreigner. Wanted to ask you about how you feel about the induction into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
I think it's a wonderful thing, and I am honored to be inducted, as I'm sure the whole band is, and we're just very pleased to be part of that.
And do you know what songs you're going to perform during the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction show? I believe it's sometime in October, correct?
Yes, I don't know yet. I've yet to talk to Mick about it, and I'm sure it'll be something good.
Okay. And if you would, can you tell us about your early days in music, your musical influences, and your early band Black Sheep?
Yes, I started playing drums when I was 8 years old. My dad had a big band in the 40s, and my mom was the singer in that band. So there was music in our house as early as I have any memories of. And I remember being incredibly influenced the first time I saw the Beatles on Ed Sullivan, and I remember turning to my mom and dad and saying, "That's what I want to be when I grow up." And they laughed. So when Black Sheep was founded, we were doing album cuts of our favorite groups: Humble Pie, Free, Spooky Tooth, the Beatles, and the Stones, and a number of others. We weren't playing the hits like a top 40 band. When we were playing album cuts of our favorite bands, and we garnered a record contract first with Chrysalis Records, and then eventually with Capitol Records. And we recorded 2 albums for Capitol Records, and after our second album release, we were set to open the show for Kiss on one of their tours, and we played one show with them in Boston and got a standing ovation, and it was on Christmas Eve of 1975, and the band made it home promptly after Kiss was done, and the crew had to tear down our equipment still, and it was sleeting outside, and just around Albany, they slid off the New York State Thruway, and the truck tipped over. They just had bumps and bruises, but our equipment and the truck was completely ruined. And we didn't have the finances to get a new truck and new equipment, and it was a recession in the U.S. in those times, so our parents couldn't help us, and the record company wouldn't help us. So we lost our tour with Kiss, and very shortly thereafter, the record company dropped us. So that was basically the end of Black Sheep.
Wow. And Lou, if you will, can you tell our audience how you became the lead singer of Foreigner?
Well, the guys in Black Sheep and I would meet every couple of weeks to see if there was anything we could do to get the band back up and running. And around that time, my dad called me. We were meeting at the drummer's house out in Albion, New York. And my dad called me out there and said, somebody named Mick Jones was calling for you. Now, let me preface this by saying when Spooky Tooth and Mick Jones was playing guitar for them at the time came to Rochester, Black Sheep's manager was a representative for A&M Records, which Spooky Tooth was on. So we got to go see Spooky Tooth, and after the show, we got backstage to meet the band, and I remember giving Mick the 2 Black Sheep albums, and I told him, this is what our band has been doing. Hope you enjoy it. So my dad told me he called and wants me to call him back, so I called him back, and he told me how much he enjoyed the albums and thought I was a very good singer, and was asking me to come and audition for this new band he was putting together in New York City. And I thanked him, but I told him what happened to Black Sheep and the truck accident and the situation we were in. But I told him I was very loyal to my band, and I had to see it through before I could even think about auditioning. And he said he would call me back in a couple of weeks to see what my situation was. So I told the guys in Black Sheep about the call, and they said, Lou, let's be realistic. I don't think anything's going to happen. I think Black Sheep is over. Why don't you go take the audition? Maybe one of us will make it. And I thought that was pretty big of them to say that. So when Mick called back, I told him I would come to New York, and he sent me a plane ticket, and I flew there, and I auditioned. And they had auditioned over 30 other potential singers, and they chose me to be a member of the band.
Wow, that's fantastic. You were a long way from home there in New York.
Yes, I was, really. And that's when soon as I found out I was that. I excuse me just a second. Mick and I started writing songs, and that's the first song we wrote, Long Way From Home.
Wow. You know, Foreigner had so many great albums, including your debut album, also Double Vision, Head Games, Foreigner 4, Agent Provocateur, and more. Do you have a favorite among those albums I just mentioned?
I think Foreigner 4 is my favorite, and I also like a lot of the other albums. Double Vision I like a lot, and Foreigner's last album, Mr. Moonlight. Have you ever heard any of that?
Yes, sir. I'm a huge Foreigner fan.
Yeah, I think that Mr. Moonlight album, although it didn't sell very many, was a very well put together album.
Yes, sir. Foreigner hits include Cold as Ice, Double Vision, Urgent, I Want to Know What Love Is, Waiting for a Girl Like You, Hot Blooded, Feels Like the First Time. I could go on and on and on. And, of course, the dynamic rock anthem, Jukebox Hero. Can you elaborate on the creation of that song?
Well, to be honest, after Head Games, my wife and I bought a little house in upstate New York, a town called Katona, New York, and I set up my drums in the basement, and I had a TX 4-track machine, and I had a little amplifier with a guitar and a keyboard, and I remember going downstairs and starting to play the beginning with just the bass drum beat, and then I think I played the boom 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 on the keyboards. Although the sound was very different, it was just the idea of that part. and I managed to find some guitar chords that weren't exactly the same as the Jukebox Hero that you heard, but the idea was the same. And then I brought my friend Bruce Turgan over, who played bass in Black Sheep and eventually played bass in Foreigner. He came over and helped me find the right chords and played a good bass part. So at some point we were gathering songs. Foreigner was gathering songs for Foreigner 4, and I submitted to Mick. I had Bruce with me. I submitted to Mick the idea for Jukebox Hero, and he was more than a little intrigued, and he asked Bruce to show him the chords, and Bruce did, and Mick modified them a little bit. It was the same chords, just different voicings, because Mick is a master at that, and that song was born.
Wow. An awesome song. Now, you're going to be joining Bret Michaels for some shows as part of his Party Gras 2024 tour with select locations. Now, one of those... I
have been already, actually.
Yes, sir.
I've been on a number of shows with him already, yeah.
Yes, sir. I think Noblesville on July the 12th, if I recall correctly. Now, one of those stops is going to be August the 3rd in Alpharetta, Georgia, which is just north of Atlanta, at the Maris Bank Amphitheater at 7 p.m. Can you tell us how you became a part of this tour and some of the songs that we can expect to hear from your lengthy catalog of Foreigner and solo work?
Well, I met Bret about four years ago. We were doing like a double bill someplace, and we met and became friendly, and he told me about the Party Gras thing that he was doing, and asked me if I would like to have a guest spot on that periodic dates of that tour, and I told him I would be out touring too, but on weeks that I had no shows, I said I'd love to be part of it. So I picked 3 songs that his band could learn, and started doing Party Gras dates with him, and it's been a ton of fun, and he's very gracious, very nice, and the band is good, and it's been nothing but fun.
Yes, I'm going to be attending this show, and I look forward to it with great anticipation. Lou, do you have any funny stories to share with our audience from being on the road all of these years?
Do I? Well, just for one story, it's not really a funny story, but it's we played Myrtle Beach one day, and 2 days later we were supposed to play Seattle, and we were on a bus tour. So right after the show with Myrtle Beach, we didn't even go back to our dressing room. We got on the bus with our soaking wet clothes, and we started driving to Seattle. And we had 2 drivers. One bus driver got tired, the other one took over. And we drove straight through to Seattle and got there with about an hour before we were supposed to go on. So we didn't get a chance to shower or anything. We just cleaned up in the bus bathroom the best we could. We put fresh clothes on and a lot of deodorant, and fixed ourselves up as good as we could, and took the stage with very little sleep, and having had a lot of anxiety during that trip, wondering if we were going to make it in time, and so we were frazzled, to say the least. But we had one of the best shows of our tour.
Wow. Can you tell us, kind of changing gears a little bit, can you tell us how rock music has changed, in your opinion, in the last, say, 10 to 20 years?
I think it's changed fairly dramatically, but Willa, knock it off. Excuse me just a second. Willa, wow. I'm sorry about that.
Go ahead.
I think it's changed. I think it's changed quite a bit in the last 20 years. It's more of a mixture of soul and rock. The new brand of soul, rap or whatever, and I find it still interesting. It's not exactly my cup of tea, but there's still groups out there that do rock the way I remember it, the way it should be done. I think, and there's still a lot of creative bands that have been around for a while, and new bands coming out too that are very intriguing to me. So I think rock music in general is in a very healthy state.
Okay, going back to your Foreigner days to the present, can you tell us how the relationship with the radio has changed?
Well, because Foreigner hasn't had a hit in over 20 years or more, I think maybe more than maybe 25 years or so. I think our relationship with radio has changed because we're only being played on classic rock radio where they play our old hits, and rock radio that plays new hits, we're not involved in that because for over 25 years we Mick and I haven't been working together. So I think what there is now is the band that Mick put together that he calls Foreigner, and I haven't seen anything that has resembled a hit so far with that band.
Yes, sir. Our market here includes Muscle Shoals. It's known as the hit recording capital of the world. Have you ever visited Muscle Shoals, and do you have any impressions of the music that came out of Muscle Shoals? Due to the fact I know you're a huge R&B fan.
Yes, I am, and I have visited Muscle Shoals. It was a number of years ago, but I remember it distinctly, and it was very, very, very classic looking. It wasn't real spacious, but it sure had a look of a place where you work and get it done, and I could see hits and the type of music that Muscle Shoals recorded and produced, really being advantageous to recording there.
Yes, sir, and some of those hits included like Brown Sugar from the Rolling Stones, When a Man Loves a Woman from Percy Sledge, and Wilson Pickett's Mustang Sally. I won't sing it, Lou. You're the guy with the voice, but some really, really great music has come out of Muscle Shoals.
Oh yeah, a lot more than that, but those are three big ones.
Yes, sir. And I understand that you're going to be retiring from touring after the current tours with Bret Michael and the Lou Gramm All-Stars, and of course after the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame appearance in October with Foreigner. What are your plans for the future? Will you write, record, produce, or just enjoy life with family and friends?
I plan on writing. I plan on still recording periodically, and I'd love to produce if the situation was right. I'd like to have my hands still in music, but I've had enough of the traveling and the night after night shows. I still enjoy performing, but with the airlines the way they are now and the delays and the cancellations, it's just extremely frustrating for me. So I would like to end that part of my career.
Yes, sir. And Lou, I hope your health is good. And how's your voice doing?
My voice is as good as it ever was. I about a year ago, I started taking vocal lessons again, just to learn how to warm up my voice and some technique on how to keep my voice at its peak right through an hour and a half set of some very challenging songs. And I think I'm singing at this point as good as I ever have. And I owe it to the vocal coach that I have and some of the methods that he's taught me.
Yes, sir. I played Steve Perry, Journey. I played Queen. you definitely, in my opinion, have one of the top 5 voices in rock and roll
I
music
appreciate
history.
that. Thank you. That's an honor. Yes, thank
sir.
you.
And before I forget, can you tell us a little bit? You have a Lou Gramm Foundation. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, the Lou Gramm Foundation is set up for anyone, but it turns out to be mostly younger teens that have a desire to play an instrument and take lessons, but don't have the financial means to do either of them. So we fund them. We are able to buy them a good used instrument, whether it's a guitar or a keyboard or drums, whatever, and set them up and pay for lessons so they can learn at their own rate and feel like they've accomplished something and the possibility of them picking music as a career.
I want to take this opportunity to remind our audience, Lou, about your social media. Your website is lougrammofficial.com. Also, you can check out the Lou Gramm Foundation at lougrammfoundation.org. Again, thanks to you, Lou Gramm, and your management for graciously taking out your valuable time to be with us here on Radiotherapy with Henry Green on Q107.
My pleasure, Henry.